She was completely obsessed with you 3 days ago. Now she barely remembers replying anymore. And the terrifying part is, you probably destroyed attraction while trying becoming emotionally perfect instead. Most men never lose women because another guy suddenly appeared emotionally better or richer recently. They lose women because they slowly become emotionally safe, predictable, and painfully easy understanding afterward. At first, she checked her phone constantly, waiting for your notifications every single night obsessively. She laughed harder during your conversations than anybody else around her recently did consistently afterward. Sometimes, she even replayed your voice messages repeatedly before sleeping almost every single night recently. Then suddenly, something changed emotionally, even though nothing obviously bad actually happened between you recently. Her energy became colder, slower, emotionally distant, almost like attraction quietly disappeared underneath comfort afterward. And this is where most men completely misunderstand female psychology and emotional attraction dynamics today. Women do not become emotionally addicted through comfort nearly as often anymore during modern relationships. They become emotionally addicted through emotional tension, uncertainty, unpredictability, and psychological anticipation afterward consistently. That is why emotionally unforgettable men always feel dangerously different from emotionally available men nowadays. Because emotionally addictive men understand one brutal psychological truth most desperate men completely ignore afterward. People never obsess over emotions they completely understand, predict, or emotionally control anymore afterward consistently. They obsess over emotional experiences constantly triggering curiosity, tension, anticipation, and emotional replay loops afterward subconsciously. Think about the last woman who genuinely affected your emotions deeply for several difficult months afterward. She probably confused your emotions sometimes while making everything feel emotionally intense unexpectedly afterward repeatedly. One moment she felt emotionally warm, affectionate, playful, emotionally connected, and completely emotionally invested afterward. Then suddenly, she emotionally disappeared slightly, leaving your brain searching for emotional reassurance afterward constantly. That emotional uncertainty triggered dopamine anticipation repeatedly inside your subconscious mind every single day afterward. And female attraction works almost exactly the same way psychologically underneath emotional chemistry afterward naturally. Most men completely destroy this process because they over-explain absolutely everything emotionally way too quickly afterward. They text constantly throughout mornings, afternoons, nights, removing every possible emotional mystery afterward completely. They answer immediately every single time, hoping emotional consistency automatically creates stronger attraction eventually afterward. Then slowly, conversations stop feeling emotionally exciting and start feeling emotionally scheduled instead afterward consistently. She already knows what you will text before opening your message notification every evening afterward recently. There is no emotional tension anymore, no emotional risk, no psychological curiosity driving attraction afterward internally. And attraction rarely survives once emotional anticipation completely disappears inside modern dating dynamics afterward naturally. That is why emotionally addictive men behave completely differently during emotional attraction phases afterward consistently. They never desperately chase emotional validation because their emotional state already feels internally grounded afterward naturally. For example, imagine she wears something stunning during your second late-night date together recently tonight. Most men instantly compliment her repeatedly, hoping validation increases attraction much faster afterward, emotionally consistently. But emotionally unforgettable men understand attraction grows stronger whenever emotions fluctuate unpredictably afterward naturally instead. You look at her calmly, smile slightly, then tease her without sounding emotionally needy afterward casually. You actually look dangerous tonight. Somebody definitely warned me about women like you earlier, jokingly. Suddenly she laughs, blushes slightly, then starts wondering what exactly you truly meant emotionally afterward. That emotional fluctuation creates stronger neurological memory than endless, predictable compliments ever possibly could internally afterward. Because emotional spikes release dopamine significantly faster than emotionally stable interactions inside relationships afterward, naturally, consistently. Then later, while driving home underneath empty downtown streetlights, she replays everything repeatedly afterward mentally. Not because you chased her emotionally harder than every other desperate man previously did recently afterward, but because your energy felt emotionally different, calm, playful, unpredictable, and strangely emotionally controlled afterward consistently. And the moment a woman starts replaying your silence repeatedly, attraction becomes emotionally dangerous afterward permanently. Now listen carefully, because this next part separates emotionally respected men from emotionally forgettable men instantly. Most men completely misunderstand mystery because they confuse emotional silence with emotional depth, afterward constantly nowadays. They think acting emotionally cold automatically creates attraction, obsession, emotional tension, and psychological desire afterward consistently. But emotionally mature women instantly recognize fake distance whenever insecure men force mysterious behavior afterward. Real mystery happens whenever somebody never reveals their entire emotional world too quickly afterward naturally instead. For example, imagine your date feels incredible, playful, intense, emotionally electric throughout dinner together recently tonight. She laughs constantly, touches your arm naturally, maintains deep eye contact during vulnerable conversations afterward repeatedly. Most men ruin attraction immediately afterward by desperately forcing another emotional connection instantly afterward tonight again. They ask when she feels available again, then over-explain how much fun they experienced emotionally afterward. But emotionally unforgettable men understand something psychologically dangerous about attraction and emotional anticipation deeply afterward. The strongest emotional moments usually happen after leaving, not during actual interactions together. Emotionally afterward, recently, so you leave first, calmly, smile slightly, then disappear before emotional energy fully settles. Afterward, completely. Now she drives home underneath downtown lights, wondering whether you actually liked her. Emotionally afterward, tonight. And once uncertainty enters attraction, correctly, emotional attachment starts growing quietly inside her. Subconsciously, afterward, consistently. But the most powerful part of attraction psychology has absolutely nothing involving manipulation. Emotionally afterward, whatsoever. Emotionally powerful men never become emotionally reactive whenever relationships suddenly feel unstable unexpectedly afterward naturally. That emotional calmness instantly separates confident masculine energy from desperate, insecure behavior during conflicts afterward consistently. For example, imagine she suddenly threatens leaving because arguments emotionally exhausted her recently afterward, completely tonight. Most men panic immediately afterward, apologizing excessively, abandoning boundaries, and chasing emotional reassurance desperately afterward constantly. They become emotionally afraid losing her completely, so attraction instantly weakens underneath pressure afterward naturally consistently. But emotionally grounded men respond differently, because their self-respect stays emotionally stronger internally afterward consistently. Not because they feel nothing emotionally, but because they understand emotional self-control deeply afterward naturally. A confident man never sacrifices his identity completely just to temporarily avoid emotional discomfort afterward consistently. That emotional discipline creates psychological safety because women trust emotionally stable masculine energy subconsciously afterward naturally. She starts realizing your happiness does not emotionally depend entirely on her validation anymore recently afterward. And strangely, that independence makes your presence feel emotionally more valuable than before, afterward, consistently, naturally. Because women emotionally trust men remaining calm whenever emotional tension suddenly appears unexpectedly, afterward, consistently nowadays. At the end, women rarely stay emotionally attached because somebody treated them perfectly, afterward, consistently anymore. They stay attached because somebody made them feel emotionally alive again, unexpectedly, afterward, internally, recently instead. Maybe it was your unpredictability, your teasing, your emotional calmness during difficult emotional moments afterward, consistently. Maybe it was the way you never completely revealed yourself emotionally too early afterward, naturally, consistently. That emotional mystery kept triggering curiosity, dopamine anticipation, and emotional replay loops afterward, subconsciously, constantly afterward. Because deep attraction never grows through emotional certainty alone inside modern relationships anymore, recently, afterward, consistently. It grows whenever somebody feels emotionally impossible, completely understanding, controlling, or replacing afterward, permanently, emotionally. And honestly, that is exactly why certain people stay inside your mind permanently, afterward, emotionally, forever.